Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement incorporated. Good morning. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. When you get on here, please share for us. Share for us as we do same. Share for us as we do same. You are very welcome. So today we are going to be talking about being an active listener, right? But when you get on here, please share for us. Let's keep this interactive today as we share to our other platforms, right? Let's keep this interactive as we share to our other platforms. You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. It is a beautiful Saturday once again, and I'm super excited being here with you all, right? As we talk about life, as we talk about ourselves, as we talk about what we got to do to go to or to get to where we have to get to, right? And so being an active listener, right? Being an active listener, it is our topic today. Being an active listener. So, what is being an active? What do we mean when we talk of an active listening, right? What do we mean when we speak of active listening, right? When you get on here, please share for me, please share for me, please share for me. You are very welcome. What do we mean by being an active listener? Right, as I share to our other platforms on here. Let me know how the week has been for you. How have you been? How have you been? How have you been? How have you been? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement incorporated. And I'm super excited being here with you all. You welcome. We'll start in few. We'll start in few. We'll start in few. We will start in few. Right? We will start in few. We'll start in few. You are welcome. Let me know how the week has been for you. Let me know how the week has been for you. Let me know how the week has been for you. Mine has been good, right? I can't complain. It's been amazing. Excuse me. I can complain. It's been great. So let me know how yours was, right? As I shared this one last one, and then we are going to start, right? So being an active listener, I said active listening is a conscious effort to understand and hear what somebody is saying, right? To understand and hear what that person is saying. Being an active listener means that you have to literally give that person your full attention. Thanks so much for hopping on here. Let me know where you're watching from. If you have any comment, please put in the chat for me as well, right? So you being conscious about what that person is asking, you being there, you being present, right? For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Amanda, right? I am the founder and host of A Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, where we support the needy back home, where we support the orphanages back in Ghana. And the other part to our journey is we speaking about everyday life, everyday activities where we are able to learn from each other, right? On this platform, there is no judge and none of that, right? But we learn from one another as we go along, right? So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, feel free, do me a favor and keep tapping on the screen for me, or keep liking the videos for me so that it can be pushed out for us. Thank you so much, right? So being actively conscious there, being available, being present when that person is speaking to you, so that you will be able to ascertain what she is saying, what he is saying, what exactly he is telling you to do, or he is asking from you, right? Hi, London, that girl, thank you so much for hopping on here. Thank you so much for hopping on here with us. You are welcome, right? Keep liking the videos for us, keep sharing for us as well, right? So I said this involves giving full attention to the speaker, giving full attention to that person that is speaking to you, right? It is a mutual thing. Hi. Jasmine, thank you so much for opening here. It is a mutual thing, right? You have to be able to understand what that person is saying. You have to be able to give that person your full attention in order for you to understand exactly what they are saying so that you can respond actively, so that you can respond with whatever they need you to do, right? But if that person is talking to you and all you're doing is multitasking, all you're doing is looking at something else, hi, all you're doing is doing other things, that is not being active. That is not listening attentively to that person, right? I said avoid distractions and showing you are listening, showing that you are present in the moment, showing that you are there, right? Most times we get people talking to us and we're busy doing other things. We get people talking to us and we're busy focusing on other things. We're busy scrolling our phones. I did that. I've done that. I've been there, done that. Chris, thanks so much for putting on here, right? I've been there, done that, right? But does it help us? No, it doesn't, right? Does it give us that ability to listen attentively? No, we don't, right? And this person that is talking to us will be basically thinking that, oh, I'm talking to her and all she's doing is doing other things else. I'm talking to her and all she's doing is focusing on other things. She doesn't even care what I'm talking about, right? But for us to be attentive, for us to be active learners, for us to be active listeners, we gotta pay attention. We gotta stay focused. We got to be there, right? Jasmine says, "What happened? What happened to what, ma'am?" Right? So avoid distraction and showing you are listening, right? This brings about engaged conversation, right? Because you'll be able to respond, you'll be able to be there, you'll be able to understand exactly what she's telling you to do. You'll be able to reply with answers that that person needs from you, right? And you get to validate that person's feeling. You get to validate what that person is feeling by you listening to them, by you being present, by you being there, right? Guys, if you have any contributions, feel free to add on there, and also keep tapping on the screen and liking the videos for us so that it can be pushed out for us. If you don't know what this is a Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, and I am your host and founder of A Dose of Encouragement Inc. If you haven't followed us yet, go ahead and do so on all social media platforms. Thank you so much. Right? So listening require attention over talent. So it doesn't matter what your talent is. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you have going on. You got to be present. You got to be there for that person. You got to physically be there in that moment with that person. Many of us, whilst we're talking to others, we are doing other things. Many of us, whilst we're talking to others, we are thinking about other things. We are basically putting plans in place in our heads on what we have to do, where we have to go, how we have to do that, right? That doesn't make us present in the moment. So the question that we ask ourselves is, what exactly can we do in order to be present in that moment? Right? If it means that we putting our phones away, if it means that we basically closing everything that we're doing so that we can listen to that person, that is what we got to do, right? So it acquires attention, it acquires your full attention, other than you just saying that, okay, I hear you, right? It acquires your full attention, right? So what do we have to do? How do we have to do it? What exactly do we have to do? I said listen as much as we talk, right? Listen as much as we talk. Listen is a sign of respect, right? So if I'm concentrating on what you're saying, if I'm basically saying, okay, saying, right, I hear you, I understand you, that means that I'm giving you the respect, right? I always say that respect is earned and not demanded, right? So, however you want to be respected, the same way you got to give that person. So, if the person is talking to you, be it your colleague, be it your friend, be it your partner, you got to be physically present, right? Talking to them. You got to be physically in tune with what they are saying. You might not like what they are saying, you might not be in agreement with whatever they're saying, but listening to them counts, right? Listening to them is very much important, right? So improving, I said, there is much wisdom in listening than talking. There is much wisdom in the things that we do while we listening than we basically trying to explain ourselves, trying to, and for that person to understand what exactly we are saying, for that person to understand our explanation, right? Let them voice their beef out, let them voice their grievances out, let them be able to push out they are what they're dealing with, long and short, right? Before you step in. So you listen before you talk. You let them finish what exactly they have to say. You let them explain what they have going on, what they have, why they are feeling the way they're feeling before you jump in. But most of us, it's not like that. I've been there, done that. We want to basically explain ourselves why we did that, why that thing happened, without actually listening to what that person is saying. We want to defend, quote unquote, ourselves, right? And long and short, that doesn't sit well. That ends up either blowing up in our face, that ends up either causing a drift, that ends up either causing that relationship that you have, whether it's friendship, marriage, whatsoever, right? We learn as we grow. Guys, keep tapping on the screen for us, keep liking the videos for us. We grow as we learn as we grow on constant basis, right? And so in doing so, we realize that, oh, that thing that I did whilst that person was talking to me wasn't good. I wasn't supposed to interrupt whilst that person was talking. I was supposed to basically listen to that person in full. Let that person finish talking before I step in. But again, what do? We are constantly telling ourselves that no, our mind is telling us that no, I got to respond to this because whatever, even if whatever that person is saying is not right, we like, I need to go in, right? I need to be sure that I tell the person that this is not what happened and this and that. But are we actually listening? Are we actually taking time to listen to what that person is saying? Are we actually taking time to understand what that person is saying? It might not be the fact. It might be they are in their head. It might be that they misconstrue something or misinterpreted something. But we still gotta listen to them, and then we can respond to them. That way, we are not only allowing them to air out what they're feeling, but we'll also be able to validate what they are saying, if what they are saying is true or not, if what they are saying is right or not. Right? So we'll be able to validate. But if we are jumping in left, right, center, it causes drift, it causes friction, it causes, that's where we find ourselves always have an argument here and there, right? So we constantly have to have that active listening ear, right? So improving on active listening, what do we have to do, right? I said increase awareness of which behavior you can improve on, right? On which behaviors we can improve on. What exactly do I do that when that person is talking, she feels like I'm not listening to her. She feels like I'm not paying attention to her. She feels like I'm not giving her the respect enough, right? So what can I change in that? Right? As I always say, we learn as we grow on constant basis, right? So what exactly can I change? Are the things that we got to focus on, are the things that we got to think on, right? That is basically what we have to do. That's number one, right? Ask open minded questions, right? Questions that you know for a fact that you'll be able to understand, questions that you know for a fact that that person will be able to understand exactly what you're saying, understand where you're coming from. Open-ended questions, right? Without you having to have them feel like, hey, they don't have the right to tell you how they feel, or they don't have the right to basically voice out how they feel it, right? Guys, keep tapping on the screen for us. Keep tapping on the screen for us, right? I also said verbalizing your emotions. Verbalize it. However you feel, verbalize it. However this makes you feel, verbalize it. Talk about it, because there is a saying that a problem shared is half solved, right? So verbalize it. I'm sorry. Speak it forth, right? Speak forth how you feeling. Speak forth exactly what this makes you feel. Speak forth exactly how that thing, how that incident made you feel. Speak about it. Speak about your emotions. Don't bottle it up, because when we bottle it up, we end up, and then when that time comes, we burst off. that goes into argument, that goes into friction, that goes into we saying things that we don't want to say at the end of the day. And then we go back and sit down and we're like, why exactly did I say that? Why exactly did I make that thing push me, or that incident push me to that level? We've all been there. I have been there, right? And it's not a good place to be. It's not a good feeling to feel, right? So express how you feel, express those emotions, right? Because it is only then that you'll be able to understand how that person felt, why they did what they did, and if there is any explanation, they can give it to you so that that issue will be solved, right? So clarify as well. Whatever you are talking about, ask for clarity. Ask for them to explain exactly what they are talking about. Ask them to explain to you why they think this is the situation, and what exactly you did, what exactly you can do in order to make that better. So ask for clarity, right? There is nothing wrong in asking questions. I always say that the worst that anybody can tell you is no, right? There is nothing wrong in asking those questions, even the stupid ones, right? You got to ask them, right? It is only then that you'll be able to understand who or where that person is coming from. So ask the question. So if you are joining us for now, we are talking about being an active listener, right? And if you don't know what this is the Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, where this is one part of what we do, right? Hopping on here, talking to ourselves, learning from each other what exactly we can do to better our lives, what exactly we can do to grow, right? And our main branch is we supporting the orphanages back in Ghana. So if you want to check us out, you can visit www.adoei.com, right? Adoei.com. That is the acronyms for A Dose of Encouragement Inc. So adoei.org, right? Check us out and let us know what you think. Let us know how we can improve on the things that we're doing, right? Thank you for that. So encourage people to also provide further details, right? They've told you this is what they have. They've told you this is what you made them feel. They've told you this is how they're feeling, right? Ask them to provide further details. This message is held for view, right? So ask them what this makes you feel. Ask them what this makes you feel. Ask them how what they said makes you feel, right? Ask for further clarity, ask for further explanation, ask them to understand or to basically explain to you what exactly you did, what exactly you are doing, how you are basically going to fix that, going to be able to make that right, right? Guys, keep tapping, keep liking the videos for us as well, right? So ask for clarity. I said the act of conversation lies in listening, right? You can have a conversation, but if you are not listening to that person, you can have a conversation. You can be there. If you are not listening to that person, you are not being an active listener, right? If you are doing other things other than you basically paying attention to what that person is saying, you are not being an active listener. As I said, I have been there. We all have been there, right? And then we learn as we grow, right? Sometimes we'll be talking to our partners and we're like, okay, let me do this whilst he or she is talking to me, right? And then they ask you, babe, I'm talking to you. And you're like, yes, I'm listening, talk, right? But that doesn't make us active in the conversation. That doesn't make us present in the conversation, right? So giving them your full attention, giving them your full ability to listen, being present in the moment, right? Lies in that. I said, pay attention. That's what we just said. Show that you are listening, right? By focusing on giving them how do I put it? Giving them that nodding, right? Letting them know that what they're saying, what's up, official AB. Thank you so much for hopping on here. Giving them what they are saying that you are listening, right? Nodding is a sign of you telling them that, yes, I'm listening to you, right? I said, defer judgment. Don't go in guns blazing. Don't go in already formed opinion, right? Don't go in already with things that you're going to say. Go out there and listen to what that person has to say to you, right? Because once you formed your opinion, once you've already formed judgment, they are not going to listen. Then you're not listening. You basically there for them to talk, right? So don't go in with preformed judgment. So defer judgment, right? Provide feedbacks, right? As in school, you are supposed to provide feedbacks when your teacher talks, right? So the same way applies to our daily conversation. The same way applies to our daily lives, right? Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat for me and I'll answer it. But provide feedbacks to them, right? Provide feedbacks. Let them know that, hey, this is what you said. This is what I've taken out of it. This is what I think you meant. And this is what I think it is, right? Because as I always say, um, thoughts are not always fact, right? Sometimes somebody might be thinking about something and you ask them and they're like, that's what I thought, but they are not facts. So validate those facts, right? That is why it is very good to give feedbacks on that and provide appropriate response. Right? Provide appropriate response. That is very important, right? Don't just say anything because you like you done, you wanna get out of there, right? Don't just say anything. It only makes you inhuman. It only makes you that person think that you don't care, you don't care about their well-being, or you basically not present, right? So respond appropriately to them. Respond appropriately to that, right? So what are some barriers of active listening, right? What are some barriers of active listening? Hi, Mayfield. Thanks so much for hopping on here. Official AB, thank you so much for hopping on here. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat. Also, keep liking it for us so it can be pushed out for us. Thank you so much. Right? So, what are some of the barriers that stop us from being an active listeners, right? Holding judgment, as we just said earlier on, right? Basically, monitor your thought. As I said, thoughts are not always fact. Thoughts can basically be something that you think it is. Thoughts are not always fact. They cannot always be facts. You gotta validate them, right? You gotta validate them. Who here has been in a situation where you basically thinking that this is what that person said, this is what she made me feel, this is how she did, this is the way she said it, A, B, C, and Z, and then you go in and you ask them, and they're like, "No, that's not what I meant." Right? So facts are not all. Thoughts are not always facts, right? But you gotta validate them. So these are some of the barriers that it can stop us from being active listening, right? Active listeners. So monitor your thought and refrain from judgment, right? So that's number one. Suggestions, solutions, right? Not everything requires you giving solutions to it. Sometimes all you got to do is just ask. Sometimes all you got to do is just be there and listen, right? And you not offering any solution, you not telling them anything, you not basically jumping into conclusion and telling them that, oh, we can do it this way, right? Sometimes all it takes is we listening. All it takes is we being there. All it takes is we being present. All it takes is we being in that moment with them, right? Guys, if you see me looking on both sides, I have two screens going on. So that is the reason why, right? And also interrupting whilst that person is talking. We had mentioned that earlier on, right? Interrupting messaging. So when that person is talking, allow them to talk. I used to be able to basically want to say my side of the story, right? Because you hear boiling, you like, what this person is saying is not right, what exactly, and then you like, you in a hurry to respond to them, right? But and then it causes friction. So allowing them to talk, and I had to learn that the hard way, allowing them to talk, allowing them to finish, right? And they can tell you that I'm done. If you have anything to say, you can say. So interacting messaging is not right. It only brings confusion. It only brings quarrel. It only brings argument, right? It only brings that. Also diverting the conversation, right? Never ever divert the conversation. Never ever bring something else when somebody is trying to talk to you about this particular thing, right? And you're talking about something else. You basically want to stop talking about that and bring in something else. These are all barriers. These are all barriers of active learning, right? Or active listening, I'm sorry, right? And so never ever put in, interact, or never ever divert what that person is saying, right? Stay on course. If it is A that we're talking about, stay on course, right? Let us talk about A. And then once we are done, we'll be able to talk about B, right? Or we'll be able to talk about the other things, right? That we are basically need talking about, right? But never divert that conversation, right? What are the benefits of active listening? Guys, put in the chat for me if you have any questions, and keep liking the videos for us so that it can be pushed out. Facebook and YouTube can push those out for us. Thank you very much, right? What are some benefit of active listening? What exactly do we gain from listening actively, from being present, from being there, from being awake, if I can use that word, right? Being in the moment. What exactly can we do, right? What exactly can we get out of that? What do we get from being an active listener, right? It builds trust, right? It builds trust. It makes your partner, it makes your friend, it makes your colleague trust you more, right? It makes them trust you more. It makes them trust you more, right? It resolve conflict. So if there were ever any chance of them thinking that you have any issue against them, that resolves it. You being active listener resolves that issue, because you'll be able to know exactly where they're coming from, and you'll be able to respond accordingly so that that issue gets solved, right? Without them leaving that scene with the situation is not solved. Sometimes it cannot even be a quarrel, right? Sometimes it's just the fact that they are thinking something else that you aren't thinking about. They thought you said something, meanwhile you did not, right? So that helps in clarifying it. That helps in explaining the situation to them. That helps in allowing yourself to be in the moment. Explain what you meant by what you said, if there was any, or explain to them that what they are feeling is not right, what they are feeling is not the right thing, because as I said, thoughts are not always facts, right? So it got to be validated, right? So it resolves conflict, right? It broadens one's knowledge as well, right? Being an active listener broadens your knowledge, right? It allows you to know exactly what you are missing, what you can learn, what you can potentially do in order to upgrade yourself, in order to build yourself, in order to be there, right? For them, in order to be in that moment where you have to be, right? One sec. So it broadens your knowledge, because learning never ceases, right? We are constantly learning 24/7 all day long, right? Without we having stopping to learn, continuous learning, right? That is what we got to do. Review message. I'm not sure what this person means, so we're going to, right? So it broadens your knowledge. It allows you to learn. It allows you to keep upgrading yourself every time, right? Because learning doesn't stop until we leave here, until we leave this world. Learning doesn't stop, right? You can refuse to learn, but learning doesn't stop. It's a continuous process, right? As we go, it's a continuous process. One second. It's a continuous process. So we gotta be able to know that. We gotta be able to know the ins and out, what exactly we have to do, how we have to do it, right? In order to upgrade ourselves. As I said, no one is an island, right? And we all need somebody at any point in time, at any given time. We need somebody, right? Any day, anywhere, right? And so if that happens, and we got to listen to them, if that happens, and we got to be present in the moment, and all we're doing is doing something else, all we're doing is focusing on something else, all we're doing is basically not being in the moment, not being present, right? Then we are not doing right by them. We are not being right in the moment, right? and never interact as well too. Never ever interact when that person is voicing out their feelings, when that person thinks that, hey, this is what you did, this is the reason why I think this is right. Don't let them feel that what they're saying is not important, right? So these are some of the benefits of being an active listener, right? Building trust, resolving conflicts, broaden one's knowledge, and anticipate problem. That's what we didn't talk about, right? It allow you to anticipate if there is going to be a problem or not. Because if you are able to listen exactly what they mean or exactly what they are talking about, you'll be able to anticipate if your response is going to bring issues or not, if your response is going to let that situation flare up or not, if your response is going to make them feel worse or not, so that you'll be able to ascertain and determine what exactly your response are going to be, right? So it allows us to do that. It allows us to anticipate if there is any problem or if there are going to be any problem. I put this thing right. It doesn't seem to sit the way I want it, right? So it helps us to anticipate what problem we're going to have in that conversation, because you are present, you are listening, you are focusing on what exactly they are saying, so you'll be able to respond accordingly, right? Guys, let me know if you have any questions so far in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions so far. Let me know if you have any questions. And also keep tapping on the like button for us. Keep tapping on the like button for us. Keep tapping on the like button for us. Thank you so much. Keep tapping on the like button for us as I do this. Keep tapping on the like buttons for us. Let me know if you also have any contributions that you would love to add on here to what we are discussing. Because as I say on here, all we do is learn from one another, right? All we do is learn, pick ideas from one another. So that's what we do, right? So in improving miscommunication, active listening helps improve that, right? As I always say, thoughts are not facts. You might have said something, they might have misconstrued it, right? They might have thought that, hey, this thing that she said, it wasn't right. They might have said that, hey, this thing that she said, why did she say that, right? But it will help in resolving miscommunication, right? I said listening is not understanding the word of a question asked. Now listen, hi Bill, thanks so much for hopping on here. Abdel, thanks so much for hopping on here. Right. So listening is not listening is not understanding the question that the person is asking. You not listening is not you being present to whatever they are saying. You not having preview of what that person is saying, right? Because you basically focusing on something else, right? So listen as much as you talk. Listen as much as you talk, right? Our response should come after we have listened. Our response should come after we have let that person basically exhaust all their options. Abdul said, you right, yeah, right? Having that person exhaust all their option by them speaking forth what they think, by them speaking forth what they feel, by them speaking forth what exactly they think. Because again, thoughts are not always facts. Guys, keep liking the videos for us, keep liking the videos for us, right? So in active listening, you are basically constantly, consciously in that moment. You are there with them, right? You are not doing any other thing. You are not focusing on any other things, right? I said listening is also a sign of respect, right? You give respect as you want them to give you, right? Respect is not demanded, respect is reciprocal, right? And so if that person is talking, voicing out their grievances, or even talking to you in general, right? And all you're doing is focusing on something else, all you're doing is basically doing something else, that is you not respecting them. That is you telling them to continue talking so that you get out of here. If you know that you wouldn't have time for that conversation, then let them know so that you guys can schedule it for another time. But never go into a conversation where you have other things pre-planned, right? Where you have other things that would distract that conversation, where you have other things that will basically distract whatever you are doing or however the conversation is going, right? And I said, we learn by listening. So you realize that we spoke about broadening our knowledge up here, and we've also said about we learning as we listen, right? Because in listening, we are able to pick ideas from. We are able to ascertain what the situation exactly is. We are able to form response in place of that, in place of what we had coming in, right? But some of us, what we do, we are constantly going into that conversation with a pre mentality, right? Already formed pre notion before we go into the conversation. That is always going to end up with conflict. That is always going to end up with misunderstanding. That is always going to end up with confusion, because guess what? You will not allow that person to finish talking. You would not allow that person to voice out their thought. You will not allow that person to actually get to where they need to get to. Some people, it takes them a bit. You will have to listen to them for them to wind before they get to that point that they have to basically say, right? Because they don't know how to cut it across. They don't know how exactly to explain to you. And so you see them going in circles about it. That is where you have patience for them to explain to you what exactly they mean, for them to explain to you what exactly they are feeling. Because again, not all feelings are fact, not all thoughts are fact. We might be thinking something here, right? But to the next person, that is not what it is. So that is why we got to listen attentively in order to explain and digest exactly what that person is saying and to see if whatever they are saying is valid or not. But if all we're doing is going in guns blazing, right? If all we're doing is going in with preformed notion, if all we're doing is going in already have our answers already because we have an idea of what that person is going to talk about, then that's not a conversation. Then that's not a conversation. You are basically there to just listen to them and you're like, okay, finish up so I can get out of here. That's basically what you're doing, right? I said, when we listen, don't try to multitask, which we said that earlier on as well, right? Don't try to multitask. Victim, right? How many of us here have been in that situation before where you are being spoken to, but you're doing something else? Been there, done that. Does it help? No, right? That's why we learn from one another here. Does it help? It doesn't help, right? It only makes you look bad. It only makes that person think that you don't care. It only makes that person think that, hey, this person, I am here pouring out my heart to. I am here giving them, telling them exactly what I feel, telling them exactly what they did makes me feel. And here they are. All they doing is doing something else. All they doing is looking at something else. All they doing is scrolling through their phone. Right? That's all they are doing. And you make that person crawl back into their shell if it took them time to basically be able to get to a point where they can talk to you. Maybe that conversation can basically take about 10 minutes. But because you're doing something else, because you are multitasking, because you're not taking that conversation seriously, because you think that, oh, this person, all they do is talk. All they do is nag, right? You already have a preformed notion here. You already have a preformed notion here. And so you end up doing things that basically don't coincide with that conversation that you having, either by flipping through your phone, by watching TV, or by tapping your feet, right? Doing something that doesn't go in sync with it. We need to be actively in the moment. We need to be present with what that person is saying. Avoid those distractions and show that you are here and show that what they are saying, you are listening by either nodding, by either saying, okay, right? But give them some feedback for them to know that they are not just talking to the rock. Is it doable? Yes. Is it difficult for some of us? Yes. But we learn as we grow. We learn as we evolve, right? Because giving attention is the number one thing when it comes to being an active listener. Being there in the present, being there physically, right, is the number one commitment that you have to make. But today, what do we see? Everybody is on their phone. Everybody is trying to do two or three things, right? And then there is the friction that keeps going over and over again. I'm not coming to sit here and talk to you as though that I am perfect, that I don't do that sometimes, right? We all do, as I started saying earlier on. We all do. But again, what do? We learn as we grow, right? Have I done that before? Yes. Did it help me? No, it did not, right? And so as we grow, we learn. As we grow, we pick ideas. As we grow, we pick the good things, right? Because continuous learning, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. We don't stop learning until you tell yourself that, oh, I cannot learn anymore. That is why I don't usually believe in the what you call it, the proverb that says you can never teach an old person new things. No, if that person is willing to learn, right, you would be able to speak to. They will be able to learn new things. If that person put it here that hey, I'm gonna be learning, they are going to learn. So we can always pick up new things as we grow. It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter where we've gotten to. It doesn't matter exactly what exactly we're doing, right? It doesn't matter about that. All we got to do is constantly be in the moment, constantly be there, right? I have here, I said, one of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say, right? Right? And Robert Powell says something. He says, if you make listening and observation your occupation, you will gain much more than you can. You gain much more than you can by talking, right? So if we are able to listen and observe more, we are able to gain more than we talk, right? And the most sincere respect that you can give somebody is listening to that person. So how are you listening? Are you listening actively or you just listening anyhow? As I said, on here, all we do is work on ourselves, right? We learn from one another. So put in the chat for me some of the things that you do that you can basically look at it and say that this was me now listening at that time. I can give one, right? There was a time where I was talking to my husband and all I was doing was I was in the kitchen. I was trying to cook while I was trying to talk to him at the same time, right? And when he did that, or he said something, and I was like, what did you say again, babe? That was me now listening, right? And from there, my husband was like, okay, I'm not talking if you are doing anything again. So we learned the hard way, right? We learned the hard way. We learned the hard way. So what are some of the things that you can literally look at with what we've said so far and you say that I wasn't listening at that time, right? Put in the chat for me. Put in the chat for me, right? Listening is being able to change, to be changed by the other person, being able to be changed by what that person said, being able to pick nugget from what was told, right? That is being able to listen. Because guess what? There is much wisdom in listening than speaking, right? The most important thing when it comes to communication is what isn't said. So you are talking to that person, you are listening to that person, right? That is the most important in communication. right? Because guess what? The act of communication or the act of conversation lies in you listening to what that person is saying. Hey, this person is saying this, this person is saying that. What can I pick out of it? What exactly can I use to better myself? What nugget can I learn from it? What exactly can I take here to use for myself, to build on myself, right? Listen more than we talk. Listening more than we interrupt. Listening more than we distract. Listening more than we divert, right? Right? That is what we got to do. We listen more than we divert. We listen more than we interact, because the only thing that we gain from doing so is that it bring conflict. If we interact while that person is talking, it brings argument, right? But if we are able to listen attentively to what that person is saying, it builds trust, it resolves conflict, it broadens one's knowledge, and you are able to anticipate where the problem is, to know how to solve that problem or what to say in order to calm that person down, if any. But what do we mostly do? We are mostly eager to respond. We are mostly anxious to speak because what that person is saying is not right. Yes, thoughts are not always fact. So if that person, whatever that person is saying is not even right, allow them to finish talking. Allow them to land. It is difficult to do sometimes, especially when you know that what they're saying is not right. But we gotta try to be better each day, right? If yesterday, when that person was talking, we were interrupting left, right, center, today we gotta slow down and listen to exactly what that person is saying. It could be your colleague, it could be your coworker, it could be your friend, it could be your parent, it could be your partner, right? And you know for a fact that this thing they're saying is not right. That's not the truth. But again, and then we jump in, and then this is saying this, and then there's conflict, right? But once we learn, as we go about our day, we learn, right? We learn to better ourselves. We learn to do well. We learn to be able to be quiet for them to finish talking so that we can respond. I had to learn that the hard way. And has it helped me? Yes. Though sometimes we sneak because we like want to jump in here and there because what they are saying, right? But we learn as we go. Avoid those distractions, right? That makes you being engaged in whatever they are saying. And don't let us go into that conversation with already pre-built knowledge or judgment already in the conversation. I know this is what he's going to say. I know this is what she's going to say. So I'm ready for her. No, it only brings anger. It only brings argument. It only brings conflict, right? It only brings conflict. But if we are looking to prevent that conflict, if we are looking to calm everybody's heart, if we are looking to make sure that that conversation goes as it's supposed to go, then that is where we gotta listen actively, right? That is where we gotta listen actively. That is where we gotta listen actively. Being an active listener means that consciously making a conscious effort to understand what that person is saying, regardless of how you feel about that situation. I get what you're saying, but this you saying is not the real fact. Validate what they are saying. right? So that they don't go about still holding on to what they thought it was the issue, right? Because you went into that situation, you listened attentively, you took what needs to be taken from, and you are responding accordingly, right? Being an active listener involves a whole lot than you just being there to listen. Involves you basically listening to what they are saying, hearing them, and responding accordingly, right? That is what is involved. Because in doing that, your awareness are increased on certain things that you are able to change, on what needs to be changed, how you have to go about certain things, right? You are able to do that, right? And you are not going in guns blazing. You are not going in thinking that, hey, this thing that he's saying, she's saying is not right. So I have to basically respond to him. I have to basically respond to her, right? Attentive in that conversation. Be able to be present in that conversation. Be present in that. Is it hard sometimes to do that? Yes. Especially when you know for a fact that whatever is being spoken about is not what it is. You are so eager to respond. You are so eager to rectify it. But that doesn't always end well. That always ends up bringing confusion. That always, because you know for a fact that what that person is saying is not the truth, right? And you are eager to respond to it. But it ends up blowing up in our faces. It ends up causing more confusion, right? So allow that person to talk. Allow them to voice out their grievances. Allow them to voice out what they feel, right? And respond to it. Because in doing so, you realize that you are able to digest everything that is being said. You are able to absorb what you have to absorb from it to dish out the right response, right? How do we improve that? Ask questions, verbalize your own emotions. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the situation? How does this make you feel? Verbalize it, right? So that is you verbalizing your emotions. Verbalize affirmations too. Let them know that, hey, what you said to me, I understand. What you said to me, I get you, right? But this is not what it is. This is that, this is that, this is that. Explain to them. Explain to them. It is only then that that conversation will end well. That is the only time that it will end well. That is the only time. Because if you are going in already with the mindset, friction is going to happen. Thank you for joining me here. If you don't know who this is, my name is Amanda. I am a host and founder of A Dose of Encouragement Incorporated. This is one aspect of what we do at A Dose of Encouragement Inc., right? Our main priority is supporting the orphanages back in Ghana and back in the States here, where we put smiles on people's faces. And our other branch is we coming on live. We having a heart-to-heart talk where we learn from each other, right? Where we support each other because we believe in learning from one another. We believe believe in supporting one another. So if this is your first time here and you haven't followed us yet, please go ahead and follow us. Turn the notification button on, right? So when we come on live or when we post anything, you will be able to know that we are live, right? If you have any questions, feel free to ask, right? And I'll be able to answer you, right? And if you don't know what we're speaking about here, we're talking about being active listeners, right? In our day-to-day life. Being able to be there, being able to be in the present, being able to not getting distracted, being able to physically be there to allow that person speak forth what they are feeling, to help in building trust, to help in resolving conflict, to help in broaden our knowledge, and to anticipate any problems that might be rising, right? I wrote here, I said, improving communication, miscommunication, active listening helps improve that, right? When there is a miscommunication, active listening allows us to do that, right? And then I have here, I said, listen more. Listen more than you talk. Listen is a sign of respect. Again, right? It is reciprocal. What you want to be done to is what you do to others. So if you actually want that person to listen to you, then you got to be able to listen to them whilst they speak, right? You got to be in the moment. You got to be in the present, right? Learn to bite your tongue. Learn to hold it whilst that person is talking. Allow them to finish. Allow them to voice out their opinion. Allow them to voice out their grievances before you respond to it, right? Because in doing so, what you're doing is you're preventing friction. You're preventing conflicts. You're preventing that conversation from moving to this, to that, right? That will blow up, right? You are preventing that. So bite your tongue. Learn to bite your tongue. I know sometimes it's hard. I've been there, done that. I know sometimes it is difficult to do that, to hold it, to hold. My mother would say, hold water in your mouth, right? Hold water in your mouth. It is difficult to do. It is hard to do, right? Sometimes, but we gotta do our very best to do that. Because when we listen, and we don't multitask, when we listen and we don't form prejudgment, when we listen and we are allowing that person to basically finish what they are saying, to basically voice out their grievances, we are only able to take those nuggets and be able to respond appropriately to them without having to find ourselves bashing each other, without having to find ourselves, right, saying all kind of words to each other, without having to find ourselves distracting each other, without having to find ourselves literally speaking the things that we are going to regret at the end of the day, right? Because sometimes in the heat of the moment you say certain things, but after, when you go out and sit down and you think about it, you're like, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. That is why it is very important for us to have active listening, right? Put that on. Be an active listener. Be in the present. Let them voice out what they feel. Let them voice out what they think. Let them voice out exactly how they feel. And if they are right, validate it. If they are not, reassure them that that is not what it is, but this, and that is what it is, right? Let them know the fact if those things that they are saying is not fact. I salute you to my brother, Kwame Testimony. How you doing, right? If that is not the fact, validate it. Because it is only then and only then that you'll be able to build that trust, that he or she will be able to know that, hey, this thing that I was thinking about, it wasn't right. Or this thing that I was talking about, it wasn't the right word, right? It wasn't what I should have thought about. I thought it was like that, but it wasn't, right? So let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat for me, right? Also, keep tapping on the like buttons for us, right? So that YouTube and Facebook can push our videos out for us. Thank you so much, right? So validate those, because sometimes everything that person is talking about is here, and it's not a fact. It is their thought. They think it is fact. They think that that is what it is. And that is what leads to assumption too, right? People assume that this is what it is. People assume that, hey, this is what she said. This is what, and an example of it is, recently I had some misunderstanding with my younger sister, right? And I thought she said something else. This was me thinking she said something else, right?
And so I had gone to her and I'm like, hey, this is what you said. And she said to me that, hey, no, this is not what I said, right? So sometimes we hear certain things, and instead of us to validate them, right, we keep it to ourselves and we're like, oh, this is what she said, or this is what he said, right? And then we end up finding that at the end of the day, whatever we were thinking wasn't exactly what it is. So again, thoughts are not always fact. Thoughts are not always fact, right? We got to validate them. If you think that is what that person said, validate it. But in validating it and in asking about it, be active to listen, be present to listen, be there to listen to what they are saying, right? It is only then that you'll be able to know if what they are saying is fact or not. But if you are not an active listener and all you're doing is you focusing on something else, all you're doing is you basically multitasking, all you're doing is you basically doing other things, that is where the conflicts come. Some of us too, we are constantly going into that conversation with pre-built mindset, right? I know this is what he or she is going to say. So this is my response. This is going to be my response to them. Pause. Speak out that thing loud. If this thing I'm going to say, if it's actually true, and I'm validating what their opinion is, I'm validating what their concerns are, how can I say it in a manner that it doesn't end up causing more commotion? Right? Without you having to go in with guns blazing, or having to go in already ready to fight. Right? And we got to do our very best to also stop interrupting when that fellow is talking, right? We should allow them to finish talking. Allow them to basically voice out what they feel, basically voice out their grievances, voice out their opinion, voice out what exactly is bugging them. That is the only way we'll be able to get to a solution, right? That is the only way you'll be able to reach an agreement on whatever the issue is, right? So let me see if there is any questions in the chat that I missed. Okay, so far there is none. Let's check on the other side too. All right, right? So that is what we got to do. Being active, being present, being there, physically there to have a conversation is what we got to do. How are you listening? You are there. You are physically present. But are you actually listening? Are you actually in tuned? Are you actually giving your full attention to that person? Are you letting that person know that, hey, what you are saying, I hear you? Right? Are you letting them know that this is what you are saying, I hear you, and this is my response to you? Or you like, okay, what will be, will be. Right? We got to go into every conversation ready to listen, ready to be attentive to listen, because that is the only way we'll be able to move from one point to the other without having to have conflicts with anybody. Right? So until thank you so much for hopping on here with me. Right? We usually come on here 1 hour for you. If there is no question, thank you so much. If you don't know what this is a Dose of Encouragement Incorporated. You can check us out on our website, right? www.adoei.org. This is another a branch from the main branch, right? Where we our main goal is supporting the needy, supporting the orphanages back in Ghana and the homeless back here in the States, right? In the US, right? We believe in a heart that cares to a hand that gives, right? And so that brings me to our social impact project, right? This year's social impact project. So every year, be it existent for the 3 years that we've been operating, every year we have something called social impact project, right? Where we go into the communities and we support the orphanages, right? back home, what with the basic needs, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's educational materials. And this year, I am super excited to officially let you all know that the social impact for this year is coming on, right? This year, as we go into the communities where we basically give out educational materials, right? We have where did I put that backpack? I was gonna show you all what we've made. I don't know what, I think I put it on that chair over there, right? But we have made backpacks, right? With educational, filled with educational materials, where we go out there and we are going to be giving them to the needy Barbarian students back in Ghana in one of the schools, right? And I'm super excited that it will be coming off this August, right? I'm super excited, right? So if you haven't checked that website yet, please go ahead and do. As a matter of fact, let me get that so I can show you all what we have, right? So this is a copy of it, right? This is what will be given out. This is filled with educational materials, exercise books, pens, right? For that needy student, right? But brilliant, that brilliant but needy student that is in need of help, that is a need of our assistant, that is a need, right, to have something going for them. So this is what we have on here, and we've pre-filled this out. So I'm super excited to officially launch that. We are ready to have the social impact project. So if you are here and you like, hey, this relate with me, I would be more than happy to help, right? I'll be more than happy to offer some assistance, right? Go to our website and use our donate button, right, where you can donate. If you can have physical product for us, right, you are more than welcome to. We are a 501c company, so you can write it off as well. But if you also like, oh, I don't have the need to support, but I want to check them out, go ahead and check us out, right? Type ADOEI in your browser and look at what we have on there. Look at what we are doing. Look at how we are impacting the community, right? So it's official. We are about going for this year's social impact project, and I'm super excited. Thank you all for hopping on here with me. If you don't know who I am, my name is Amanda Krufi Aye, and I am the founder and host of A Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, where I come your way every Saturday morning, right, for us to learn from each other, for us to talk about what we can basically do to improve our life, aside other things that we do, as in supporting the orphanages in these cities and in this country. Until I come your way again, stay blessed, right? Keep sharing these videos for us. Keep sharing it to your friends, your families, right? Let them know what we all about. If you also want to check us out, you are able to put it in your Google search, and you will pull up, right, A Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, where we support, where our goal and our mission is helping eradicate poverty in our own small way, right? So until I come your way, see ya, and have a blessful Saturday and a good week ahead. Bye for now.